All right. Hey guys, this is Kit, Burn One here, joined again with Dean.
Hello.
Dean wants to say hello. Yep. We're doing a little overview of some of the cards we think are like key cards to take a look at in Bang Dream, since it's just yeah, we're recording this the day before release. So on August 3rd, the set releases in English, and I'm sure it's gonna rock the meta around a bunch.
Oh yes, definitely.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about some key cards here. It's worth looking at if you're gonna get into the set or as far as deck building goes. So we'll start off here. We're actually picked about 5 cards per rarity to take a look at, because we're not gonna look at the whole set because we think that's a waste of time and this video would go on forever.
Right.
Yeah, so the first card we're looking at here is the level 0 yellow double R. It's basically a Magi, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You discard a
yeah.
card, you look at top 4, but then you only can search for yellow characters. So
Yeah, which is like the drawback of it. So it's usually only in like the Hello Happy World deck, pretty much.
right, but I feel like every deck is going to be splashing some amount of yellow for the Musashi. So this is really good because like if you can round out your numbers enough, it gives you access to pretty much free mill, which is always needed in pretty much every set.
Yeah, little what is it? Emergency brake button there when you when you're like, oh great, I'm out 8 in the first 2 turns of the game.
Yeah, and you've got like 20 cards left in deck.
Yeah, those are always fun situations. Besides that, there's nothing else really special to talk about, right? This means pretty standard.
Yeah,
card
it's just like
at
these
this
don't
point.
even get printed in every set though, so it is
Yeah.
noteworthy.
All right, next card obviously is Kokoro, the Musashi. So the first effect is the main effect we're looking at, which is the Musashi effect. If damage by this card is canceled, when you play it, you mill the top card of your deck, or you may mill the top card of your deck, and then burn X, where X is that card's level +1, and of course Climax is being 0. I mean, this is a very solid finisher no matter what, especially if you're trying to close out a game with an opponent like at 3-5. And it's uninteractable pretty much. So
And
then it has
I
ahead.
was just gonna say with the main finisher in the set that people will be going towards, you honestly can't resolve 3 of it almost ever. So this rounds it off to so you have like 3 finishers on the board.
Yeah, it's very easily if your main game plan is Yukina or something that requires a reverse, depending on the cost of the card. This is a good secondary choice to include with that card. And then the Climax combo it has too is actually a pretty cool Climax combo, though it's hardly ever used. It combos with the Stock Soul, and it's at your Encore phase. You pay 1 and look up to 3 cards in your deck, music characters in your deck, add them to hand. Then if you got 2 or more, then you discard 2 cards from your hand. So you can set up like really cool scenarios where you're super compressed and just have nothing but climaxes in your deck. Like one time when I was having fun with the Hello Happy World deck, I played with this combo, and there was one turn at the end where I was like 3-0. I did this and pulled out 9 cards out of my deck, leaving 4 cards left in my deck, and all 4 of those cards were climaxes.
I guess it is a pretty cool like little budget option. My problem is that it just like eats a slot to do that. So
Yeah, it eats a climax slot, and then the payoff isn't always there because it does set up hand fix very well to set up for a following turn, because I guess you're expected to live after playing 3 Kokoros and then doing the combo, and so you have like perfect hand fix most of the time, but it's still not like an amazing combo where people are looking to do this all the time.
right.
But it's there.
Cool.
All right, next card we have here in Double R is the Ran level 0 Clock Bomb. It's a solid level 0 Clock Bomb, but what makes it so special is that it has an alarm effect here, where if it's the top card of your clock, during your climax phase, you can give one of your characters the following effect, which is on attack, pay 1. If you do, then you trigger twice with the card. So it's a pretty unique effect. It helps you, if you know you're going to be triggering and you clock this as your card, it's a good way to set up paying out climaxes that you trigger.
I just think that
is,
it's
pretty
the if you have like cards in hand and you have that in hand, that's always going to be your clock choice, because it will always allow you to pay out climaxes if you accidentally trigger them.
Yeah, it's just solid all around. And I think Bushiroad in future sets lately, I think they realized from the printing of Bang Dream here that printing really good alarm effects like this can kind of bring that effect back for us, because quite a while they haven't been printing alarm at all, because alarm was pretty useless. Even shift has been pretty useless for the most part.
Yeah.
Alright, so next double R here. I included this one. This is the level 3 Mocha. I think it's just worth talking about. A lot of people consider it like the best finisher, or at least one of the best finishers. I think it's just a really, really solid 2-turn finisher, pretty much. It sets up a lot of stuff very well, and it like has a percentage-wise, it has a really good odds of always getting the damage in because of the top check on your opponent. And then one of the neat tricks it does is that when you're top checking your own cards, if you see a climax, you just keep moving it to the bottom, so you're guaranteed 1 cancel next turn. So usually at most you have to worry about 2 attacks going through instead of 3, which is pretty neat. An upside and downside to the card though is definitely the healing effect. So instead of healing as soon as you play it, it's at your encore phase it heals. So sometimes you can set up where you're at 3-0, play these, and then take a refresh damage and then heal the refresh damage at your encore step. And then other times you get kind of screwed, and then suddenly you're like, oh cool, I'm at 3-6, 3 cards in my deck, and I can't heal because these 3 Mochas don't heal till encore step.
Right.
Which
really
sucks.
I think another thing is, like, I always question when people are arguing about this card, the actual use of it. Because, yeah, you can stack a climax to the top card of your deck, but think about how many decks running around right now have, like, burn 1 on attack. Or AOT's the big one. But, like, a ton of other decks also just have, like, these burn 1 effects scattered throughout. Bang Dream has it. Or, like, you can just, like, tell your opponent, like, attack with a Musashi-type character first, or, like, a cancel burner. And then, like, the setup from this is, like, it kind of did nothing. The fact that it kind of makes it a little bit more likely to hit by checking the top 2 cards of opponent's deck is, you know, pretty cool. But I'm actually not entirely sold on how worthwhile the being able to stack the top card of your deck with the climax is.
Yeah, I think currently it's not as strong as people are thinking. This is a really strong choice in the Japanese meta right now, because the top end in Japan is like all over the place with like double strikers and like burners and stuff. So it gets a lot more mileage in Japanese, whereas I think in English, with how the meta is shaping up, I don't think it's going to get as much mileage. Like, I won't be surprised if I see a winning list running Mocha level 3, because at the end of the day, it's a good card, but I just don't think it's super powerful.
Right. I mean, if my opponent played this against me, I'd just play Musashi and attack with that first.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Next here, we have the best Brainstormer in the set, I guess. This is why we're including this. The double R Remy Brainstormer. It has at your climax phase, you give a character 500 power. Then it's a self-tap Brainstorm, which is always good. And every climax you hit off the 4 you mill, you get to salvage a character, not even trait locked.
Oh, it's not? Interesting.
No.
I just think it's a solid Brainstorm. I don't know what the trait... I don't think the trait really matters. There's nothing that's like traitless that's worth splashing, is there?
There's some stuff from set 1, but...
The Shiokos?
That is... pretty much. Yeah, the Shiokos. And set 1 has some cards that work with Kasumi that are doesn't have music trait, which might be a reason. But besides that, yeah, this card is just the best Brainstormer in the set. You probably will have this in every list you run, because it gives you complete access to your waiting room, and it's self-tap, and it has a secondary effect that's good. That's about all worth saying. Next, we have the spooky boogeyman of the group, which is the Yukina level 3, which everyone's super hype over.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The first effect is a continuous effect during your turn for every music character you have, or every other music character that is. You're getting 500 power, so normally it's 11-5 with a full field. It's a healer on play, and then the climax combo that spooks everyone is with the blue gate. If the battle opponent of this gets reversed, you can pay 3, discard 2, and then your opponent takes 2 damage twice. So you burn 4 in increments of 2, which is really solid.
Yeah, it's
so
disgustingly strong.
The damage output is just like Xenon, except it's a little bit better because it splits up the 4 damage, and 7 damage off of 1 card is really good. So it's like it wins you, basically it wins you games you have no chance of winning anyway, just because you were able to get the
And
reverse.
if your opponent is like 3-0, they basically lost the game if they don't kill you.
Yeah, it's just a really good card. It has one of, I guess I describe it as like the highest ceiling or comeback potential, I guess, is more like it.
Did you include the fact it heals?
Yeah, and it heals too, so yeah. It's a solid card all around. I guess the only demerit is that it loses a lot of power on defense, but usually after playing this card, and especially if you resolve two of them, you usually win the game right after. So
yeah,
not really a big demerit.
If you don't, then you know, your opponent outplayed you or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Next, we're going to move on to rares here. First rare up here is the, what is this, Hagumi?
Yeah, Hagumi.
Yep, the level 0 stock bomb that also runs to stock when your opponent plays a climax. Included in this list just because one way to fight Attack on Titan and other lists that require a reverse thing at level 1. It's super solid, so it lets you tri-field really easily at 0, and you get some benefits out of it if your opponent plays a climax. And you don't have to put it to stock when your opponent plays a climax. You have the option not to as well. So it's a really good card at denying your opponent. Yeah, it's Yume.
Oh.
Yep. And then level 3, it opens up slots too. So if your opponent tries to play around and like run all their stuff in, you can play those into the front row. And if they have a climax combo at level 3, suddenly they have no targets to reverse.
Yeah, which is really, really strong. Anything that you can deny your opponent reverses, especially with the way this meta is shaping up now that Bang Dream has like fully come out, is pretty good.
Yeah, I think that's it for this though. Next is a card I included. It is the Himari, level 0. I really like this card because it does some cool stuff. So this works in almost any list you play. It does a lot of work in standby lists too, because whenever you play a climax, this card goes back to your hand, you buff a character 2,000 power. But the secondary effect is what makes it even better, which is it has an alarm effect if it's the top card of your alarm, and you have 4 more other music characters on the field. At the start of your climax phase, you can salvage a character and then discard a card from your hand. So it provides a really good hand fixing. So if you run a lot of tech 1 of cards, being able to pull this out right before refreshing is really good, because then you have access to your entire waiting room at climax phase, so you can grab certain counters you might need or certain characters you're looking to play next turn that you do not have. And it's a way to ditch climaxes as well, and just fix hand in general.
Yeah, being able,
just,
like you said, to have access to the 1-ofs is also very important, because this set has so many good cards that I feel like a lot of lists will want to have a bunch of like random tech cards in them.
Yeah, it's really hard making lists in this because there's just so many solid like tech cards in the set that you kind of had to figure out what you want to play. Next here in rares, again, we have, everyone should know this support by now. It's a level support, and it has with a secondary effect where you can tap this card and another character. And as long as you have a event in waiting room, you can do that. Then you can pick one of your characters and give it 500 power for the turn. And the effect that during battle, your opponent can't use events or backups. So this is mostly comboed with Yukina, to make sure Yukina is able to cleanly remove a character without having to deal with any backups or
anti-damage
event counters, or anti-damage. So you're able to always get the burn 2, burn 2. I think besides that, nothing else really, right?
No, I mean it helps your disgusting endgame always go off. So
yeah, any
by
endgame
virtue
that requires a reverse, yeah.
Even if it doesn't require a reverse, it turns off anti-damage.
Yeah, which is really good. And then if you play this at level 2 also, and you play it early play, it does protect your from the first attack. It protects you from counters, which is probably relevant.
Basically,
in
an anti-damage.
most cases. Yeah. Next, we have the 1/0 2K counter. It's a 1K counter, but then when you use the backup, if you have a music character in battle, you can give it 1K power. So it's a 1/0 2K backup. Nothing really special to say here other
just
than it's just a
okay
good backup.
cards.
So yeah, so if you have a power field, if your field's based on power, this is the good card to have. So if you end up doing like some kind of standby wall build, or you're playing like 118Ks, something like that, I mean, no reason not to be running 2K counters. Next, I think this is the last rare we're looking at, which is the Orisa Early Play Level 3. So this card, if there's 2 or less climaxes in your waiting room, it loses a level in your hand, so it can come out early. The next effect, which is really good, which is if this card's in the front row, all your music characters gain 1500 power, including itself. So
13K,
this card's actually
14K?
Yeah, if you have a full field of this, then it's 14K, which is great. And then the climax combo, which is really good too. It's on a blue gate. If you have 4 more other music characters, which is the drawback here, until the end of your opponent's turn, the card gains 1K power, and the effect that at the start of your opponent's attack phase, you can pick 2 characters and give them -1 soul each. So this is a good way to control soul damage and stuff. And the best part about it is you wait till your opponent's attack phase, so you get to see if they play a climax or add extra soul anywhere or anything like that. And then if you have 3 of these in the front row, you can like -3 soul in 2 lanes, which is something I've done before when people have played level 3s and slam a climax. So I just blank 2 attacks and only take 1.
Or cancel on 1.
Yeah, or cancel on 1, and then your opponent just cries a lot. Big demerit, though, is the fact that if you don't have 4 more other characters, the combo does not work. So a lot of times people will have like counters in their hand to force you to sack a character or something like that.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
There's a lot of things I've thought about with this. So you want to be slamming a climax every turn, which means that you're probably going to be incentivized to clock draw every turn, which is kind of not what you want to be doing if your entire goal is to be sitting here at level 2 forever. Also, because you're slamming a climax, and this thing is huge, your opponent's going to be forced to crash board over and over into it to even hope to do any damage. You're going to be swinging 4/4/4 every turn. Most decks can just solitaire to the point that like you're not doing anything, and then it doesn't stop burns. So those are all kind of like pretty relevant, and then it also just loses to stock bombs and clock bombs, and like you said, anti-change counters. If like they drop a single one of those on you, you don't get the effect at all, right?
Yeah, you just lose out to the effect completely, pretty much.
So
the first one you attack will get it because it activates before, unless they kill that one that's attacking. But then your other ones won't.
Yeah, so like all in all, I think it's a really cool budget card. But it's got so much counterplay, like I'm not sure if it's like the actual play.
Yeah, it's a really fun card. I played with it a lot when the JP version released, but definitely in English, I don't know if it's going to do as much work as it does in Japanese.
A lot of English
the
players,
metas are completely different.
A lot of English players really like Gurren Lagann, so I expect a lot of the little tiki head thing from that just bottom decks your entire board, or does it send it to waiting room?
It sends it to bottom deck.
Yeah,
and
bottom
then
decks your entire board.
You can't even encore it. And then there's a lot of really good decks running around that have like early play level 3s anyway. So it's a good like. Oh, and then the anti-spiral deck is like a budget deck too in English.
Yeah, so just expect to run into that.
A lot of random people who don't really take the game too seriously will usually have a budget deck like that, kind of like when Attack on Titan was a big thing. You'd run around
mono blue
and
Titans,
see like a lot of mono blue Titans a lot in the first few rounds. All right, on to uncommon. What is this? The Hagumi.
It's like a
like
a drop search almost for climaxes. You have to take a damage, but
yeah, specifically yellow climaxes only. So if you're running yellow climax combo, it's a pretty good card. You end up taking a damage, which kind of sucks, but you hand fix usually for something that's supposedly be plussing you anyway. So most of the time you'll be willing to take the damage.
Yes.
As well as it gives one character 1,000 power when you use the effect as well. I
guess the 1K power is cool, but you would never play the card for that.
Yeah. But overall solid card. Usually only seen in the Hello Happy World deck because most of the yellow cards are involved with Hello Happy World. Next here we have in the uncommons is the 1/1 Michelle
Yeah.
power buff card. So it has a support effect that if this card has a marker during your turn, it gives all cards in front of this 1500 power, which is really solid. The secondary effect is when this card goes from hand to field, you pick one of the...
Or by change.
Oh yeah, or by change, yeah. You pick one of the... what is the
It's
card?
like a 4K that gains 1500 when something else attacks. It's a 1/0.
Yeah, so it's like last attack, it's 7k. It's a solid card. And the last effect is a change that you can send this card to stock to basically change into the 1/0. That's the marker underneath. So it's a really interesting card since when you need extra stock at your end game, you can always just send it to stock to get refund the stock that you used to play this card.
And you can use it as stock out too, which is like you can use it as stock out and then just send it back to stock if you need the attacker. So it's like a free stock out if you really need it. But for the most part, it usually in the early game it serves more function as like a wall breaker. Like 1500 is a lot of power.
Yeah, especially there's no it's not locked into like traits or anything, so it doesn't matter what you put in front of it. It's always going to give it 1500 power as long as you have the marker, which is pretty good. The biggest thing is that the fact that this card is a stock out that basically replaces the stock, which is one of the best parts, I think, of the card.
Yeah, and it has a soul trigger.
Oh yeah, soul triggers, baby. That'll be much more important if they ever release that second or the third set that came out for Bang Dream in
Oh no,
English. I don't think honestly, I don't think they're gonna.
Those packs
were
terrible, weren't they? I mean, like
they had some solid cards, but like I said when they announced it, those are cash grab set.
Right.
So I think. Oh, and then the next uncommon card here we have is the early play level 3 for Holo Happy World. You need to have the support and the 1/1 support
and
the Amagi to get -1 level in hand. This card gets really, really big on your turn too. It's 11/5 on your turn since it gets 500 power for every other character.
Yep, and then top check
music
X.
character, yeah. And then it's a on play top check X, where X is the number of music characters. And this is a really good way to dig for climax combos and stuff. And it's a solid level 2 plan for Hello Happy World as well.
I think
if you plan to do the Hello Happy World deck.
I think it's more important to just like put this in like every list because you're gonna be playing. If you're playing Yukina, you're probably gonna be playing Kokoro to complement it. So you already have the yellow, and then this just helps guarantee that you get Yukina off. Like it searches for the pants, so you don't have to hold it through refresh.
Yeah, I know a lot of people have been doing something we didn't include in this list though is the PR cards, but just so people do know, there is a level 0 PR card, Ron, that kind of functions the same way as this level 3. If you plan to go the level 0 route, it's a level 0. I think it's only like 2k power, but it's on play. You pay 1 ditch 1 look up top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 of them to your hand, and discard the rest. So you end up hand fixing for the most part to grab the climax.
It's good at all stages of the game. You can get your level 1 combo and get pretty much anything.
Yeah, but this is definitely another solid uncommon option.
Very good budget option.
Yep. And then I think so we have a couple more uncommon cards left here, which is this one is the Himari, the 2/1 clock bomb that clock bombs higher level cards in your opponent's current level. But the reason this card is so good, and you see this a lot in almost every any list that runs Bang Dream and has, like, even if they don't play green at all, you'll see lists with 4 of this card in it because the secondary effect, the secondary effect is a really good alarm effect, which is as long as you have 4 more other music characters at the start of your climax phase, you can take the top card of your deck and put it to stock. So you get to build 1 stock just for clocking that turn.
1 stock and -1 climax permanently.
Yeah, so if you think about it, you clock this and draw 2 that turn, and then you get a stock just for clocking, which is really, really good. And usually during the first deck, you're really unlikely to, if you're going to blind stock something, you're pretty unlikely to hit a climax, but most of the time you're probably going to hit it anyway.
You have the card that lets you top check, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of cards that let you top check and stuff, so usually you know what you're putting in. But so I know some people just kind of go wild and just pray for the best. But yeah, so and this card functions like in both ways, like really, really good. So there's no reason not to run 4 if you're going to splash this in your deck, because its first effect is already really good, and then the alarm like is just the cherry on top. Just the alarm effect is really, really good.
Yeah.
I think this is our last uncommon card here, which is the 1/0 Lisa.
This card is so strong.
Yeah, so this card on play is has 6k power, but then it loses it after the turn. But the secondary effect, which is really good, is Resonate. You reveal the Yukina you have in your hand, from your hand, when you play this card. If you do, the card gets +1 level and 1,000 power, making it 7k base and level 2. And then it gains the effect that when the battle opponent gets reversed, you may send that card to the bottom of your deck. So you don't even have to, or bottom of your opponent's deck. So even if you reverse your opponent, you don't have to bottom deck it if you don't want to, but most of the time you probably are anyway, because it's just more free damage. As well as it's a 107k just for running level 3. A lot of people will be running anyway. So I'm sure you're going to see this a lot with this card along with the TD combo Yukina.
And it stops a lot of just like random jank stuff that's going around, that might be going around.
Yeah, like if you play against Sunshine too as well, if they get to level 1 first,
destroys
the
bombs.
Yeah, it destroys the bombs, because one of the greatest advantages that going for Low Light Sunshine, when they run the Chica bomb, is that if you get to 1 first, you gotta like punish them even harder, because you can play your level 1 Chica combo, kill their level 0s, and usually the level 1 lives. So then it kills their next characters that they play, and then you get to swing into empty slots again for more damage. It's one of the reasons I think the Chica is just really, really strong in general for Love Live. But this card can totally blow that card out of the water if they end up getting to level 1 first and then you go second. It's really good.
Very strong.
Moving on to commons here. This is actually a really strong common. If this card, it's a Kokoro Searcher, so on play you can pay 1, ditch 1, search your deck for a music character, add it to hand. And then the secondary effect it has is if this card is in the front row middle slot, it gains +1 soul for no reason, I guess. I'm sure there's some flavor
Soul Rush.
for reason. Yeah.
For the Kokoro combo.
Yeah, most likely. But this card is just super, super good. There's like, if you're gonna run a searcher, if you need yellow in your deck, you might as well be using this. There's no reason to use any of the other ones.
Yeah, 0 cost 2 soul beaters are good.
Yep. Next, we have this 1/1 Michelle counter. It's what makes it so good is that it's a 2k counter, which is vanilla, but it has the other effect of when you use this counter or a backup, you can give a battling character the effect that when the battle opponent of this gets reversed, you can send that card.
It has to memory shoot.
Let me see. Oh yeah, it has to memory shoot.
But
yeah, so you give a battling character the effect that if the battle opponent gets reversed, send that card to memory. So this card is basically like every other memory shoot card. It's used to kind of screw up your opponent's in-game stuff.
Restanders and stuff, especially with like the Switch combo. I didn't realize this until a couple days ago, but I guess you have to have a full board for Switch.
Yep.
And it's really funny when they attack once and then you memory shoot a single card, and then all of the hope in their face is gone because suddenly they can't attack that many times.
Yeah, this is a really good card too. If you play a matchup where they're playing the level 1 Kasumi game, you can just send their Kasumis to memory, and then it makes it a lot harder for them to cycle the combo over and over again. Especially if they get level locked or something, they're just gonna have like no cards to play. It's just pretty funny sometimes. Next here on the common list, this is another good alarm effect. Like I said, I think Bushra going forward is going to start printing more really good alarm effects like this, because it's a reason to bring back the mechanic alarm. So the first, it's a 3k counter, which is a vanilla counter, but it has the secondary effect of if this is the top card of your clock, you have 4 more other music characters. You can, at the start of your climax phase, you can give one of your characters for the turn 2,000 power and a soul. If this was only 2,000 power, this card would probably be kind of whatever-ish. But the fact that you get another soul off of it is super, super good.
Big damage
you
and
can,
breaks walls.
Yeah, and you can set up side attacks very well on your level 3s and stuff like that if you need to avoid, running into counters or something like that.
Or you can just swing for 4.
Yeah, or you can swing for 4. Yeah, it's a really good card all around. So no reason not to bring this one up. Next here in the commons we have the Orisa Changer. So this card is 2/1, and then when this card gets front attacked, you can pay 1, discard, or pay 1 and send this card to waiting room, and then play the level 3 Orisa from set 1, the swimsuit Orisa, from your hand to the field, where this was as the defending character. So what makes this card so fun is that it has another effect that if you reveal that level 3, you can side attack without penalty. So you can, if your opponent has like anti-damage counters, or you need to avoid your opponent from killing an early play level 3, you can do the resonance at climax phase. So you can side attack with this for like 2 or whatever, and then they end up running into it, and it also shows that you have the level 3, so they get kind of spooked to side attack it sometimes, which is kind of silly.
I think it's also like a super cool, if you want to try the standby build, it really helps bridge that gap of Bang Dream didn't really have anything at level 2 before.
Yeah, I think one of the big things about if you're going to run this in standby, though, is you play it in like an 8 standby deck, because I think most of the time at level 1...
Interesting.
I think so, because most of the time, when you trigger, you want to be able to play this in the front row, so you can immediately respond that same turn. At least that's how I see it, because otherwise you put it in the back row.
I guess I haven't tried 8 standby. That sounds silly, though.
Yeah, it's a really silly thing. This is like, it's a high roll baller build.
It's also like
at least
0. Like I don't know. Like I'm not sure if I'd be comfortable not having any combos.
Yeah, I think that changes a lot too when they release the Pastel Palette deck, because there's some good level 3 targets in there as well that don't need combos but can punish your opponent for running into them. So, but yeah, I think last card here, moving on, is what's it called? This 2/2 6/5. It's probably the best level 2 beater in the set. So it gains 1k power for every other character. So generally, if you have a full board, it's 10/5, and the secondary effect is it has hand encore by ditching a music character.
It's a standard 2/2 beater.
Yeah, yeah, it's a really good standby target, and it's also has another card in the common that's a yellow that bonds to it by ditching, but also you can sack that level 0 that you use to bond to the 2/2 to play the 2/2 for free. So if you can afford the hand, it's a good way to get a free 2-soul beater that's really big at level 2.
That's more important.
And then you don't.
And
you don't have to worry about like your opponent killing like higher level characters because it's a level 2. And free stock as well. Besides that, is there anything else to add to this card?
I'm just not sure like which is more important in the set, like hand or stock. Like, is saving the 2 stock worth the 1 hand?
Yeah, it's really hard. It totally depends on like the game state, but I mean it's always an option.
What, that's like,
and
that's like 3. That's 2 to 3 slots you're wasting on that. That's my problem.
Yeah.
But as far as like a common and like a budget option, you know, if you're just building a deck and you don't want to spend too much, like this is a great option to throw in there.
Yeah, and it has some cool other combos that interact with the level 0 itself in the set, which you'll probably see later. If you watch any of my older Bang Dream list, I have it in my last deck profile for Bang Dream that shows a really cool combo with this card. But yeah, I think that's kind of it for our overview. We're not really sure what this is going to be in the end. I think we're going to try to do this for every set, you think, Dean?
Just English or Japanese as well?
I think just English. Maybe we can do Japanese, or we can maybe expand to Japanese if people want it. But I figured we'll just start off doing the English stuff, because usually when something comes out in English, we've already messed around with it in Japanese to begin with. So we kind of have a better understanding than most people who do not play Japanese.
I guess that's fair.
Yeah. Besides that, though, hope to see you guys in the next video. Later.